Most people enter relationships believing they are making conscious, rational choices. They think attraction is based on personality, looks, or compatibility. But Carl Jung challenged this idea completely. He believed that what we call choice in love is often the unconscious repeating a familiar emotional experience. This is why so many people feel trapped in the same story. Different relationships, different faces, but the same disappointment, the same emotional distance, the same ending. Jung would say, this is not bad luck, and it is not fate. It is the unconscious seeking resolution. The unconscious does not care about happiness. It cares about completion. It pulls us toward what feels emotionally familiar, even if that familiarity is painful. That is why attraction often feels immediate and powerful. It feels like recognition, not discovery. In the introduction, you are inviting the viewer to question their own story. You are gently suggesting that the pain they experience in love is not random. It has meaning, it has structure, and most importantly, it can be understood. This framing is critical because it removes shame. The viewer is not broken or bad at relationships. Instead, they are unconscious of a deeper psychological pattern. Jung believed awareness is the first step toward freedom. By the end of this introduction, the viewer should feel two things. First, this explains my experience. Second, I want to understand this more. Only then are they ready to continue watching. Most people believe they choose their partner logically. They think attraction comes from shared values, personality, or emotional connection. But Jung argued that this is only the surface story. Beneath awareness, the unconscious mind is making the real choice. The unconscious is shaped by early emotional experiences, especially childhood relationships, attachment, rejection, approval, and neglect. These experiences form emotional patterns. Over time, the psyche begins to seek situations that feel familiar, not necessarily healthy. This is why attraction often feels immediate and unexplainable. You meet someone and feel drawn to them without knowing why. Jung would say this pull is not random. It is the unconscious recognizing a pattern it already knows. Importantly, familiarity is not the same as safety. Many people are unconsciously attracted to emotional distance, instability, or intensity because that is what they learned early in life. The unconscious does not ask, will this make me happy? It asks, does this feel known? This explains why people can intellectually understand what a healthy relationship looks like, yet still feel drawn to partners who cause pain. Conscious values say one thing. Unconscious patterns say another. In this section, you are helping the viewer understand that repeating relationship mistakes does not mean they are weak or self-destructive. It means their unconscious has not yet been brought into awareness. Jung believed that until these unconscious choices are made conscious, a person will feel controlled by attraction rather than guided by understanding. The goal here is insight, not blame. When people realize that attraction itself can be unconscious, they begin to create space between impulse and choice. And that space is where change becomes possible. Projection means placing unconscious parts of yourself onto another person. When you first feel deeply attracted to someone, you are often not seeing who they truly are. Instead, you are seeing qualities you have not yet recognized or lived within yourself. These qualities can be positive: confidence, warmth, creativity, strength, freedom. They can also be emotional needs, safety, validation, or unconditional acceptance. Because these parts remain unconscious, the psyche searches for them outside itself. The other person becomes a psychological mirror. You experience them as special, unique, even perfect. This is why attraction feels magical. It feels meaningful, destined, and deeply emotional. Jung described this not as love, but as recognition. The unconscious recognizing itself in another. The danger of projection is that it creates illusion. You are relating to an image, not a real human being. As long as projection remains intact, the relationship feels alive. But the moment reality begins to interfere, flaws appear, differences emerge, disappointment follows. This is often confusing for people. They say, "You changed," or "You're not the same person." Jung would say the person did not change. The projection collapsed. In this section, you help the viewer understand that intense attraction is not proof of compatibility. In fact, the stronger the projection, the less conscious the relationship tends to be. This insight is powerful because it reframes heartbreak. Loss is not only the loss of a person, but the loss of an unconscious image. Awareness begins when a person realizes that what they were searching for outside was always something within, the shadow bond. A shadow bond forms when two people connect, not through conscious love, but through their unconscious wounds. Each person unconsciously seeks recognition and completion for parts of themselves they have denied, rejected, or never fully developed. In such relationships, one person often unconsciously takes the role of the caretaker or rescuer, while the other becomes the wounded child. At first, this dynamic feels deeply meaningful. The connection feels intense, spiritual, and destined. There is a sense that you finally found someone who understands your inner pain. Jung called this the shadow bond because it arises from unconscious parts of the psyche, the shadow. However, this bond is inherently unstable. Because it is based on unhealed wounds rather than conscious choice or mutual growth, the relationship tends to create cycles of control, dependency, or emotional exhaustion. Each partner mirrors the other's unresolved issues, reinforcing patterns instead of resolving them. What feels like love is actually an echo of old pain seeking recognition. The shadow bond also explains why some relationships feel addictive. The highs are intense because the unconscious parts recognize each other. But the lows are equally intense, creating confusion and frustration. The deeper the projection of the shadow, the more power it holds over the emotional experience. By understanding shadow bonds, the viewer can begin to distinguish between true love and unconscious attraction. Recognizing that intensity is not proof of compatibility is the first step toward conscious relationship choices. Jung emphasized that awareness is crucial. Only by facing and integrating one's own shadow can a person stop repeating these patterns. This section sets the stage for the next part: why these relationships ultimately collapse and how real love emerges when projection ends. Jung believed that most relationships fail not because love disappears, but because awareness finally arrives. The unconscious drives that initially fueled attraction cannot sustain a long-term, conscious partnership. When projection dominates, we are not truly relating to the other person. We are interacting with an image we created in our minds. At first, this illusion feels exciting and meaningful. But over time, reality begins to intrude. Flaws, differences, and unmet expectations surface. The fantasy collapses, and disappointment follows. People often blame the other person, saying, "You changed," or "I don't recognize you anymore." Jung would say that the person didn't change. The projection simply fell away. This collapse can feel sudden or gradual. Emotional patterns that were hidden now become unavoidable. Conflicts arise, old wounds are triggered, and both partners may experience frustration, hurt, or fear. The relationship struggles because it was never rooted in conscious love, equality, or wholeness. It was rooted in the unconscious seeking resolution. Jung emphasized that this moment is critical. While painful, it is also an opportunity for growth. Awareness allows individuals to see their own shadow, recognize their repeated patterns, and begin the process of individuation, becoming whole within themselves. Only then can a relationship survive consciously, free from unconscious compulsions and projections. In this section, the viewer begins to understand that heartbreak is not failure. It is the collapse of illusion and the arrival of insight. Recognizing why relationships fail shifts the perspective from blame to personal empowerment. By seeing the unconscious roots of attraction, viewers can start to take responsibility for their emotional experiences and make conscious choices in future relationships. the kind that lasts and transforms. According to Jung, real love begins only after projection ends. Until a person faces their own shadow, the unconscious parts they deny, fear, or suppress, they will continue to seek completion in others, creating patterns of dependence and repetition. Facing the shadow is not easy. It requires honesty, courage, and self-reflection. It means recognizing the traits, fears, and emotional wounds that you have projected onto your partners. Only by acknowledging these parts can you stop repeating unconscious patterns. Wholeness must come first, not the relationship. In other words, you must become complete within yourself before you can truly relate to someone else as an equal. When projection ends, love transforms. You no longer see the other person as a mirror for your unconscious desires. Instead, you see them as they truly are, with their strengths, flaws, and individuality. This allows connection based on mutual respect, growth, and understanding. Real love is not about filling emptiness or fixing wounds. It is about sharing life fully, consciously, and freely. Jung believed that very few people reach this stage, but it is possible for anyone willing to do the inner work. Conscious love allows relationships to thrive without unconscious dependency. The intensity of initial attraction is replaced by depth, stability, and emotional intimacy. Love becomes a choice, guided by awareness rather than by repetition compulsion. In this section, the viewer is encouraged to see heartbreak and past patterns as opportunities. Each relationship, no matter how painful, is a teacher guiding them toward consciousness and real connection. By integrating the shadow, withdrawing projections, and embracing self-awareness, a person can finally experience love that is whole, mature, and freeing. Exactly what Jung described as the goal of individuation in relationships.